A Noisy Day by Mr. Noisy.
Hello, I'm Mr. Noisy. Sorry, I'll try to whisper. It was very difficult to be quiet. You see, I just can't help being noisy. Everything I do noisily. For instance, I went to the cinema the other day and I bought a bag of crisps to eat during the movie. Well, each bite I took sounded like 100 milk bottles being smashed to smithereens. Nobody could hear the film. Believe it or not, I was trying to eat them quietly, but I couldn't. I have to leave the cinema. There was a time I went to the library to read a book. Now, you would have thought that reading a book is one of the quietest things you could do. It probably is, that is, unless you're like me. Clomp, 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 when my shoes, as I tiptoed around the library looking for a book, slam went the book when I put it down on the table. Screech went the chair when I pulled it. Rustle, rustle, rustle with the pages as I turned them. And it was no good. I couldn't read a book quietly. I had to leave the library as well. As you can see, it's not easy being me. Most of the time, people think that I'm a terrible nuisance, but there was one whole day when everyone was very glad I'm as noisy as I am. It was the day that I went to the seaside. I caught the bus at the bottom of the hill below the house. One ticket for the railway station, please, I said, in what I thought was a quiet voice, but the bus driver nearly fell out of his bus. On the way to the station, we got stuck in a dreadful traffic jam. While we were waiting, a fire engine came up behind us. Well, they were trying to get to a fire, but couldn't. They couldn't get through because their sirens were completely broken. I hopped onto the fire engine. Out of the way, fire engine coming through! I yelled in my loudest voice, which is very, very, very loud. Instantly, all the cars on Wobbletown High Street moved out of the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
I said the fire chief, and they rushed off to put out the fire. And and they rushed off to put out the fire, and the station was in chaos when I reached it. There were people running around in every direction, shouting and bumping into each other, and the station loudspeakers didn't work. And nobody knows which train was leaving from their platform. I went up to the station master, who was looking very worried. I may be able to help, I said. I stood up on the upturned box, and the Seaside Express will be leaving for platform 1, and the Toontown train will be leaving from platform 2. And the Nonsense Land train was waiting at platform 3. I shouted at the top of my voice. All the passengers having made their ways to their to their trailers. And the station master smiled at me. It was not very often that someone smiles at me when I shouted at the top of my voice.
Thank you very much.
He said. We soon arrived, only to find Seatown shrouded in fog. It was so thick that if I had a nose, I would hardly be able to see it on my face, and certainly couldn't see the nose on anybody else's face. I went to the Seaside Hotel. There was nobody at the front desk. I rang the bell. Ding! And the manager rushed out of his office looking very shaken. I'd like a room for the week, please, I said in a very quiet whisper.
Oh, sorry, I can't hear you.
Said the manager.
The sound of the bell is still ringing in my ears.
I'd like a room, please, I said a little louder. The man nearly fell over backwards, and he heard me that time. As I went down to the beach, it was still very, very foggy. As I walked along, a man who was running up to the beach bumped into me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Said the man.
But I'm in a terrible rush. The lighthouse keeper and the foghorn and the lighthouse is broken. And I don't know what to do.
I do, I said, and smiled. And I'm sure you can guess what I did next. That's right. I climbed to the top of the lighthouse and shouted, "Beware of the rocks!" all night long. And the rest of my stay at the seaside was much quieter. You'll never guess why. But I'll tell you, all my shouting had made me lose my voice.
Edna Maude. And guest.